did go to hospital on Saturday, but won't say why. It is, however, understood that his condition related to his heart and was serious enough to see him admitted. During his brief appearance, Pistorius' legal team asked that his bail conditions be relaxed so that he does not need permission from correctional services to travel. He'll now be able to approach investigating officer Mike van Aert for that permission. It also emerged in court that the 29-year-old is concerned about the tracking device he wears to ensure he doesn't violate his house arrest curfew. It's alleged that this has malfunctioned repeatedly.
He is currently on his third tracking device, my lord, as it keeps malfunctioning and providing the accused with warnings that he's violated his conditions while he's still at his residence.
Pistorius can be arrested if he's found to be violating his house arrest conditions. Deputy Judge President Aubrey Ledwaba has asked Van Aert to investigate the alleged malfunctioning. When Pistorius returns to court in June, he'll be sentenced for murder by Judge Thokozile Masipa, who previously found him guilty of culpable homicide. Karen Morn, Pretoria.
Okay, Tom Mesereau, the states obviously over there are way different. Here, once you're acquitted, that's it. It's the end of the ball game. There, obviously, they changed their decision with the higher court. Two-part question: what's your opinion on the way their justice system works over there in South Africa? And do you think the one here in the United States is better?
Well, I'm biased, okay? I practice in the United States, and I think we have the best justice system in the world. I think we have the fairest. You know, in our justice system, you're presumed innocent till proven guilty beyond any reasonable doubt. In many other justice systems, if you're charged, you're presumed guilty and must prove you're not guilty. Having watched some of the Pistorius trial, it's quite obvious that we have 12 jurors chosen randomly from the community. There are certain procedures, each side can use to remove a few, but you have to convince 12 people from diverse backgrounds that the defendant is guilty here. There, it's simply one judge. And, I have always felt that a 12-person jury is a much fairer jury than one judge. I don't care how smart the judge thinks they are, how well educated they are. I think to take 12 people from the community with different backgrounds, different perspectives, different life experiences, some more intellectual than the other, some more intuitive than the other, some more, emotional than the other, some with psychological insight and wisdom that others don't have, bringing different backgrounds into the equation. I think that's the fairest way to do it. So obviously I'm biased, so I think our system is better than South Africa. But, they have a different view. Their idea is that, educated, experienced judges make better jurors than the kind of juries you have in America. And they believe that a judge can make a mistake and other judges higher up can rectify that mistake. Certainly they have a number of safeguards and they try to make things fair in their own way. And I've never practiced there, so how can I really judge them very directly? I can't. I just have faith that our system is the fairest, but our system is filled with problems because human beings have problems. Human beings make mistakes. We have, I think, the best system of justice, but, the last I checked, close to 350 people have been released from death row, life sentences, long sentences with DNA evidence. That makes you wonder how many innocent people are in prison in cases where there was no DNA or where eyewitness identification testimony, which tends to be extremely convincing to jurors, but which all the studies show is very unreliable. You wonder how many of these people were convicted on just that kind of evidence. So trials will always be, to some extent, unrealistic. A trial is an artificial recreation of reality. It's not reality because reality happened at a different time and place. But we bring into effect procedures, rules of law, rules of evidence, rules of procedure, and we do our best to try and recreate what happened in the fairest way possible. We never can do it perfectly. That's why our laws are always changing. They're always being refined. We're always trying to find a better way to do it. So we make mistakes, and mistakes can destroy lives and destroy families, but we have to have a justice system. I have a feeling this judge is going to hit him pretty hard because I think he was very lucky. She seemed to treat him very fairly by
the original judge.
Convicting him of culpable homicide as opposed to murder. You know, that
right.
was tough evidence. That was tough evidence. I mean, that he thought it was an intruder in the bathroom, and thought she was in the bedroom. That was very difficult evidence to deal with. I think the judge extended herself to really be fair to him. I don't know how fair she's going to be, or how, I shouldn't say fair, I don't know how merciful she's going to be this time around. She may say, look, you're a convicted murderer, and you had many advantages in life, and she may hit him pretty hard. I just don't know.
Yeah, we will see in June, and it sounds like a maximum of 15 years, so that's not as much as the U.S., but over there it's pretty harsh, the jails, from what I hear.
Jordan, I thought that was a minimum. Am I wrong?
I thought that was the maximum, but it might have been too sure. But the miniseries which just finished up, was The People versus O.J. Simpson. Now, I was 10 when this happened, but I got a better idea, and I just want to ask you a couple of questions if they're accurate. Now, was Johnny Cochran that good the way he was portrayed in real life? Was he? Did he have all that charisma? Because I really didn't get a good opportunity to see it live and in living color. And from what the show projected, he was just on fire.
Johnny Cochran was the greatest trial lawyer I ever saw. He was the greatest trial lawyer I ever saw in criminal court. He was the greatest trial lawyer I ever saw in civil court. He was a magnificently talented trial lawyer. He was brilliant in many different ways. He had a gentle, humble, kind, compassionate side of him that resonated with jurors. He also was razor sharp. He was not afraid to confront prosecutors in a very aggressive, determined way. And if you take all of his human qualities, combine them with his skills as a lawyer, what you ended up with was the best trial lawyer I've ever seen.
And during the trial, they really made Robert Shapiro look like really inept, like he didn't have a clue what was going on. They said that he wanted to basically take a plea, and everybody looked at him like he was nuts, and eventually the case got turned over to Johnny. Do you know anything about this, Robert Shapiro?
I know him, and I was in a case with him recently, and he told me that is not true. He told me that he did not want to settle the case, and he had a very accomplished trial record before it. In fact, F. Lee Bailey had asked Shapiro to defend him in a drunk driving case in San Francisco that lasted months. It was the longest drunk driving trial in the history of San Francisco. Bailey had picked him to defend Bailey. This is before they had a falling out in the O.J. Simpson case. So, a lot of what went on in that series was I think, exaggerated and not necessarily accurate. Shapiro, I wasn't there, obviously, but Shapiro tells me that was not correct.
They also insinuated that towards the end, they felt that Robert Kardashian really felt that O.J. did it 100%. And then he broke ties with O.J. They also insinuated that the jury, and this is probably true, the 9 months after being promised that this was going to be a 3-month trial, they were going nuts. They were doing things like getting into fights just to get off the trial, things of that nature. Do you notice that with jurors?
Well, a sequestered jury, if it lasts very long, is a very unhappy, uncomfortable jury. I never asked for a sequestered jury in the Michael Jackson case, At that point, we were looking at a 7 or 8 month trial, and I thought it would be a miserable, dreadful experience for the jury. And I had faith that they would not need to be sequestered to follow the judge's instructions and give Michael a fair trial. Unfortunately, I was correct. I think the sequestered jury in O.J. Simpson was a very, very unhappy, miserable jury. They were sequestered in a hotel for 9 months. Their newspapers were censored. Any reference to the trial was clipped out by the sheriffs, as I understand it, before they could read a newspaper. They couldn't watch certain TV shows and newscasts. And I'm told it was a pretty dreadful experience. So I'm not. Again, I was not there. I'm not a witness to this. They were very miserable and couldn't wait to get home.
9 months.
Some of the other. I didn't see this whole series. I saw a couple of the shows, and I saw some inaccuracies right away. For example, I saw that they had Johnny Cochran cross-examining Mark Furman, and that didn't happen. Johnny Cochran did not cross-examine Mark. It was Gerald Uhlman did it, actually. F. Bailey initially did it, and when Furman returned to take the Fifth Amendment, Gerald Uhlman, a professor from Stanford University Law School and the University of Santa Clara Law School, examined him at that point. Johnny Cochran did not do that examination. So clearly they took some license with what was going on. Now, as far as Kardashian goes, I never met him. I didn't know him. But if you look at his facial expression during the verdict, he looked stunned and unhappy to me. That's all I really know. I've heard people speculate and say that he thought Simpson was guilty and that his career never recovered from his supporting his friend from college throughout the trial. I wouldn't be surprised if that's true. Clearly, his facial expression does not reflect someone who's happy with the verdict.
Absolutely, and before we go to our callers, I want to congratulate you winning Trial Lawyer of the Year, and maybe you could tell the audience how that was and share a little bit of that feeling with them.
Well, I was very honored by the National Trial Lawyers. Is just what the name depicts. It's a national organization of top trial lawyers throughout America. And every year they have what is called a Trial Lawyers Summit in Miami. And I was very honored to be named Trial Lawyer of the Year for 2015. This was in February when I traveled to Miami to get the award. And they put together a very nice introductory video of me, which I put on my website. It's very flattering and very nicely done, and I'm very honored and very privileged that they chose me this year. They talked about...
What is the website so the fans could go?
Well, the video is on my website, Mesereau Law Group. It's on the second page in my biographical section. And Jordan, I think I sent one to you.
Yes. Yes.
It's
very nice.
Basically, they were nice enough. They mentioned that I'd won the Michael Jackson case, but that I'm more than just that case. And they talked about my white-collar victories in federal court, my non-white-collar victories in state court, my work in the South, my work with the Mesereau Free Legal Clinic, awards I've gotten at law schools, and things of that sort. It was very flattering and very nice. I was very lucky to get it.
No question about it. Okay, let's go up to the callers. 707 is the area code. You're up first. Please state your name and where you're calling from. You're live on the phone with Tom Mesereau. 707, it's your turn.
Thank you. Hello, I'm Lisa Dawn.
Hi, Lisa. Where are you calling from?
Santa Rosa, California.
Okay, can you speak up a little?
Yes, can you hear me well?
Yes.
Thank you, Thomas Mesereau, so much. I'm the one who thanked you so much that even though your sister was dying of cancer, you were in that is such a, it takes up all the attention of most people. You gave so much attention in your time to save Michael's life, too, and being there for him.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate your kindness and your thoughts.
And I also thank you so much. Many of us gave up, quit our jobs, or a lot of us took time off of work, and we arranged everything to travel to court from all around the world and all around America, and saved money so that we could lodge in Santa Maria, and I did too. I was there for every single one of 20 pretrial court hearings in 2004.